I felt like I had lost a second father. Rob gave me everything. Those words from Jerry O'Connell hit hard, cutting through the quiet just as the funeral hadn't fully sunk in yet. As the goodbye service for Rob Reiner went on with deep respect, a thin and weak-looking person slowly walked through the rows of chairs, then fell down next to the coffin. It was Aaron Sorkin, the student Rob loved the most, who showed up late. Not because he didn't care, but because the hurt and his sickness had almost broken him before he could say his final goodbye. Aaron came in with a tired and empty look on his face, bringing months of quiet and tears he had kept inside. His talk wasn't fancy or perfect. Every word shook and broke under the heavy sadness, even though he was going through the weakest time in his health. He still pushed himself to stand there, just to honor the teacher who had helped him during the most important years of his life. Maybe even after leaving this world, Rob Reiner got the best gift ever: real and deep love from the people whose lives he had changed. They showed up, they cried, and they said, "Thank you." And you, how will you remember Rob Reiner? On the morning of December 23rd, the early sunlight was still soft over the long beach by the ocean, the spot where their parents had wanted to rest forever. Romy and Jake Reiner stood next to each other, holding hands tightly, their hearts full of sadness, without words. They picked a quiet and private part of the Los Angeles coastline, a place no one would bother. Only close family was invited, plus a few friends who had been there forever and shared Rob's political beliefs and strong friendship, along with some old co-workers who had supported them for years. This was the place where Rob and Michelle had told their kids that if they ever left this world, they wanted to go back to the sea, where the waves hit steady like breathing, where the wind brought back memories and final peace. That simple but deep choice became their last wish. And now their two kids had to make it happen. The coffin sat for a little while on the sand, surrounded by pure white flowers, old photos, and a few small candles flickering in the ocean wind. The waves made soft sounds, like they were whispering with the family's sadness, reminding everyone that life goes on, even though Romy and Jake's hearts felt completely broken. Romy held back tears, her voice shaking. "Mom, Dad, the ocean will hold all your memories, but I still can't let go." Jake stood by his sister, looking down at their parents' coffin. His eyes were red as he looked out at the far sea, where the sun was coming up slowly. He breathed out heavily. "We'll try, but I don't know how we're supposed to keep going." The sea wind blew their hair and scattered white petals, but it also brought the warm feel of memories from happy days, hugs, and smiles that had once been so real. Soon after Romy and Jake's calls the day before about the funeral, many of Rob Reiner's close friends and old co-workers started showing up one by one. Rita Wilson walked onto the sand, her eyes puffy from crying, mixing with the ocean wind, her voice shaky but full of heart. They lived and loved with all they had. "I don't know what else to say, except thank you for letting me know them." Being there brought the warm love of a true friend, like she wanted to hug the sad family. Soon after, Meg Ryan showed up, bowing at the coffin and softly touching the white flowers. She whispered, "Oh, how much we will miss him. Rob believed in love, laughter, and kindness in this world." She had worked with Reiner in his best years, and the loss made her feel like part of her young days was gone forever. Next came Billy Crystal, Larry David, Martin Short, and Albert Brooks, well-known Hollywood faces who had been with Rob through tons of parties, shows, and movie sets. They stood quietly, sadness in their eyes, giving their shared respect. Rob Reiner had many talents, was a friend, and a loyal co-worker whose impact on their lives and jobs would never go away. Jerry O'Connell, who Rob had helped since he was a young actor, couldn't stop his tears. He bowed low at the coffin, his voice shaking. "It feels like I've lost a second father. Rob gave me everything." Each word made the empty feeling deeper for Romy and Jake. But it also showed proof of their parents' big influence. Several other actors came too, bringing a heavy and respectful quiet. Stephen King, whose book Rob had turned into a movie once, stepped up and bowed toward the sand. "Rest easy, Rob. You always supported me, and I will be thankful forever." His words sounded over the waves, like last messages to a great friend who had gone. Kathy Bates came with red eyes, holding a small framed photo from a picture Michelle had taken for the Misery movie that she loved most. She softly put it by the coffin and whispered, "Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Rob. You changed my life." She sat down, held Romy's hand, and remembered times from set dinners where Rob always made everyone laugh until they cried, while Michelle quietly caught the best moments. Rob Reiner's influence went way beyond normal friendship. Not just friends, but political people like Barack and Michelle Obama were there too. They came in a private car, without any group, quietly going into the hidden spot the family picked for the goodbye. Michelle hugged Romy right away at the entrance. Rob had not just been a work partner, but a strong support. The person who saw him before anyone else knew his name. And because of that, Aaron picked the only thing he could do: to cry quietly, to suffer quietly. It was only at the funeral that Aaron finally came. As he walked up to the coffin, his legs shaking and not able to hold him, he fell down again, breaking into hard cries. The guests stood still. No one tried to stop it, just watching. The air felt heavy with sadness, and in that moment, everyone seemed to breathe the same as Sorkin. The sound of the waves, the wind, and his crying mixed into a quiet, special silence. When he finally got up, Sorkin tried hard to make his voice steady, even though tears kept coming. He talked through cries, each word pulled from deep inside. "When I heard that my teacher had gone, I was quiet for a really long time. I fell deep into sadness, not able to do anything but look at the empty space he left. But when I heard this would be the last goodbye, I knew I had to come. I had to stand here and say goodbye." Aaron walked slowly to the coffin, put his hand on the cold wood top, and whispered, "Rob, you were my first teacher, my big brother, my close friend, someone I never thought I'd have in my life. You took the messy script from a nobody kid and said, 'We're going to make this movie, Aaron, and you're going to write even better things.' You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." His words carried over the beach, mixing with the waves and the cries of everyone there. Everyone felt how huge the loss was, so big that no one could stop their tears. He talked about the early days working together, when he was a young writer who knew nothing about Hollywood. And Rob opened the door, opened his heart, helping him step by step, every detail in every script. "You gave me the faith that I could do something important, and now I have to say goodbye to the man who taught me everything that mattered most." Sorkin's crying went with the sea wind, mixing with the sadness of the two kids and spreading over the whole beach. He talked about Michelle, calling her a dear friend, a kind person who was always by Rob, supporting and going with him through every happy and sad time. Michelle, you were the soft light in Rob's life, and you were a light for all of us too. His voice fell apart, tears wetting his shoulders, and not one guest could stay calm. Sorkin's talk left the whole beach in a strange quiet, but everyone felt the strong connection of teacher and student, of friendship and years of loyalty. He remembered heated talks, laughs behind the scenes, and many little moments where Rob always looked after everyone nearby. Each story made the guests feel choked up, like they were losing part of their own memories, part of their hearts. He turned to Romy and Jake, his voice shaking but gentle. "My kids, your parents were amazing people. They loved, they helped others up, and they taught you how to live with kindness. Hold those lessons, and never forget their smiles." The two kids looked at Sorkin, tears running down their faces, feeling that the connection between him and their dad was a valuable gift Rob had left. When his talk was over, Sorkin bowed deep one last time at the coffin, tears falling hard, and whispered, "Rob, Michelle, you will live forever in my heart. In every word I write, every movie, every memory, I will never forget." The guests stood quiet, many hiding their faces as sadness spread like a river over the shore. The funeral went on, but all eyes were on Sorkin, the man who had just taught everyone a deep lesson in guiding friendship and love in that terrible loss. His words and tears were like a light in the dark, showing the pain, but also reminding everyone that Rob and Michelle had lived, had loved, and had left a lasting mark on so many hearts. As Aaron left the beach, Romy and Jake stood still, quietly watching him go. The waves kept crashing, carrying a promise that the memories and love their parents left would stay in Sorkin's heart, in their friends, and in the two kids themselves. A sad but touching proof of love and connection that goes beyond time. At the end of the service, Romy put her hand on her mom's picture and whispered softly, "Michelle, I'll keep everything in my heart. I won't forget you." Jake bent down, put his hand on the coffin, and breathed out quietly, "Father, we'll try to live on, but this pain will never go away." Those broken words were not just goodbye, but a huge sadness they would carry forever. White petals blew onto the sand with the wind, mixing with the salty sea smell. Like every little thing was full of sadness and love. Each wave hitting the shore was like the lasting beat of memory, reminding that Rob and Michelle had lived, loved, and given everything to their kids. When everyone else left, only Romy and Jake stayed standing and looking at the coffin, letting each sad moment go deep into their hearts, letting the pain mix with the sea. The quiet was so deep that every sound seemed swallowed by the big empty, the place where two kids now had to learn to live without their parents. The beach funeral, simple but deep, became the last goodbye, where love, sadness, memory, and the ocean became one. Romy and Jake knew they would keep their parents' pictures in their hearts forever, in every wave and every wind breath. A heartbreaking but precious proof of family love. So what made Aaron Sorkin and Rob Reiner so close that in one night of loss, a man known for his strength and sharp words could totally break down like he had lost the base of his life? In the always changing Hollywood world, where connections often stay just short work ties, the friendship between Aaron Sorkin and Rob Reiner was a rare one, deep, lasting, and based on real respect. They met in the early 1990s at Castle Rock Entertainment, when Rob, as one of the founders, had in his hands the script of Aaron's first play, written by a young guy full of passion, but totally new to movies. Rob didn't just see talent. He saw a possible creative partner. He chose to direct A Few Good Men, and from then, the connected path of two talented people started. The months working in Castle Rock's Los Angeles offices turned them from co-workers into something more like guide and close friend. Aaron often said Rob was the first person who really listened to him. Not just his lines, but his craziest ideas too. With his lots of experience, Rob became like a big brother and unofficial guide. He would sit patiently for hours with Aaron and others, talking about every line, every flow, every small detail. It was in those talks that Rob, by accident, suggested what became the famous walk and talk idea. People moving while talking, making the quick, sharp rhythm that became Aaron Sorkin's clear style. Their first work together, A Few Good Men, was strong proof of the great match and respect between these two passionate artists. Sorkin brought pages full of sharp talk and non-stop drive. Reiner turned them into real pictures, scenes full of tension, but real. In Reiner's office, the two would sit across from each other for hours, going over every detail, tone, speed, moves, and stress. Through that, they didn't just make a classic movie. They built a deep soul connection between the writer and the director. Their link went beyond work into a shared feel for creativity. Rob often said Aaron's talk was like jazz, complicated, smart, and full of energy. He felt lucky to direct those words because they needed exact visual flow to keep their strength. Aaron, when he rarely talked about Rob, always showed real thanks. Rob not only got his first script on the big screen, but taught him how to make words move, how to make ideas live in a movie. They kept working together with The American President in 1995, a soft but smart political love story that later felt like an early version of The West Wing. During that time, their friendship got even stronger. Rob often asked Aaron to his house for dinner, where they would talk late about politics, life, and the strong beliefs they both followed. They worked on political ads in 2004, stood together on social topics, and always gave each other quiet but strong support. Through the years of working, Reiner and Sorkin watched each other grow in their jobs. Sorkin went from young writer to one of the most wanted in America, while Reiner kept building his name with emotional and powerful works. But more important than any success was the trust and respect they had. A connection not bought with money or fame, but grown through real understanding and true link. Rob Reiner once told a shared friend, "Aaron isn't just a great writer. He's someone I can tell anything without worry of judgment." And Sorkin, in an interview about their bond, said, "Rob always made me feel like I could be the best version of myself in my work and life." That perfectly showed their connection, one that went beyond work, where both found comfort and heart match. Later, even when busy with their own projects, they stayed in touch. Long calls, surprise messages, encouraging words when one struggled. Rob watched the success of The West Wing and The Social Network with pride, often telling others that its special style started in those early days at Castle Rock. Aaron, though not often open about feelings, always saved his warmest words for Rob in interviews, saying Rob wasn't just a director, but the man who opened the door for his career and heart into movies. Their friendship wasn't loud or showy, but it lasted decades. It was built on job respect shared values, and knowing both were trying to tell important stories to the world. Rob Reiner and Aaron Sorkin weren't just two big names in Hollywood. They were two friends who made lasting moments on screen, and more importantly, shared the best years of creativity, humanity, and real connection together. Not just the family, but thousands of fans worldwide turned their thoughts to this place, at least through memories and posts on social media. They remembered the movies, the moments of spirit and meaning that Rob brought to their lives. And this loss wasn't just a talented director going, but the loss of childhood memories and art inspiration. On forums and social sites, fans shared deep sadness. One wrote, "I can't even explain how much Rob Reiner meant to my life. And that he passed with the wife he loved so much is heartbreaking." These messages were like quiet tears flowing through the group, making anyone who read them feel the heavy sadness. Not just Rob, but Michelle Singer Reiner got lots of love from fans too. She was remembered as a kind person, talented and loyal, way more than just Rob's wife. One person wrote, "Please don't forget Michelle. She was also a light and inspiration for so many." On many posts, people shared photos, personal stories, and close moments about her, honoring a full and amazing person the world hadn't fully seen. The respects from fans were closely tied to Rob's movies. Fans remembered The Princess Bride, Stand By Me, This Is Spinal Tap, movies that had gone deep into their memories. One fan wrote with tears, "He gave us our childhood and youth, and now looking back, everything feels so breakable." The feeling of loss wasn't just about death, but about a loved memory that suddenly felt empty. Online groups also showed respect and sadness. On Reddit and X, thousands of comments came. Many from people who couldn't stop crying, remembering the first time watching Rob's movies, or how his talk taught them about love, justice, and bravery. Many wrote, "We've lost a legend, but what he left will live on in us." The caring spread around the world. Fans from the US, Europe, and Asia shared pictures, quoted lines, and personal memories of Rob and Michelle. They wrote that this loss reminded them of the worth of love, creativity, and kindness. The very things Rob and Michelle always showed in their lives and art. Even though they couldn't go to the funeral, people sent respects through photos, writings, and deep-feeling messages. They died together. It's both beautiful and too hard to bear. We will never forget. These words sounded like whispers on the ocean waves, linking the Reiner family with a worldwide group of fans through shared sadness and deep love. The funeral ended as soft waves touched the shore like nature was bowing goodbye to Rob Reiner. In that heavy, hard-to-breathe space, Aaron Sorkin's words stayed like a late true talk from a student to his teacher. There was no fancy stuff, no acting, just the raw hurt of a man who had been saved by words and by the trust Rob gave him. As everyone quietly left, a question stayed in the air. What will we do to be worthy of what Rob Reiner left? Do we have the strength to tell true stories? The kindness to treat each other like he did? Maybe the answer is in how we live, how we write, and how we remember him. Not just today, but every day after. Thank you for reading to the end of this story full of loss. If you want to keep following stories of movies, humanity, and lasting feelings, please subscribe to the channel so we can together remember, tell, and keep the things that really matter.